Coming up on News 11, Buffalo police are attempting to limit the use of ghost guns in the city. The city of Philadelphia is reinstating its indoor mask mandate, and we have the latest on what is happening in Ukraine. These stories and more, News 11 starts right now. Good evening and welcome to News 11. I'm Topher Elkins.
And I'm Chloe Kowalik.
Chautauqua County leaders are calling for the county to follow suit with the state and suspend part of its gas tax for the remainder of 2022. Four Democratic leaders propose to eliminate the county sales tax on gasoline from June 1st of this year until 2023. New York Governor Kathy Hochul approved legislation to remove the state's 8 cents per gallon motor fuel tax and its 8 cents per gallon sales tax. By joining the state, counties are able to eliminate their 4% sales tax, or about 8 cents per gallon share of the sales tax. Fredonia Representative Susan Parker said, quote, "With families in our county concerned about the inflation and the huge run-up in gasoline prices, the least we can do is remove this additional expense for our residents and businesses," end quote. The legislators are hoping that their colleagues will act immediately to remove the county sales tax to allow gas retailers and the county's finance department time to make the change to benefit residents and businesses as of June 1st.
The seats of Chautauqua County in Mayville, New York is finally getting an upgrade. The local park, known as Lakeside Park, is incredibly important to the town due to its cultural, recreational, and scenic value. However, the park's facilities have degraded over time, and authorities say there is a lot of room for improvement. The town plans to understand and identify improvements, collect public input, and understand key issues and opportunities, all while keeping the historical significance of the park intact. Mark Gees, Deputy County Executive for Economic Growth and County IDA CEO, stated, quote, "While the Mayville waterfront is currently beautiful and active, there is certainly untapped potential to do even more to improve the quality of life for existing residents, as well as attract more tourists to visit the area and improve the economic viability of the area," end quote.
If you missed out on the Fredonia Easter Festival this past week, you may still be in luck. Asheville is hosting their 10th annual Easter Carnival this Saturday, April 16th, on the Asheville BOCES campus from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Admission will cost $5, except for children ages 2 and under, who will get in for free. The event will feature games, crafts, train rides, a bounce house, a cars track, and Easter Bunny meet and greet for children. There will also be a 50-50 drawing, a basket giveaway, and food and drink available for purchase.
One miniature football fan, Mannix Maddox, was saddened by the news that defensive tackle Tim Settle will be joining the Buffalo Bills next year. A fan of the Washington Commanders since he was just a baby, 5-year-old Maddox met Settle back in 2018, and the two have formed a bond ever since. Settle has talked to Maddox after every single game or practice that he has attended, and has also signed a lot of Maddox's gear. Maddox's dad, Tim Burgess, said, quote, "He's taken Maddox out on the field before games, taken him in the locker room before games, and has given him his gloves in the parking lot and his cleats. When Maddox isn't at games, Tim will stop over and ask, 'Where's my buddy?' end quote." Next season, Settle will be playing for the Buffalo Bills instead. Maddox was saddened by the news, and the pair said their goodbyes online. After seeing the online exchange, the Bills Mafia has jumped into action, offering Maddox and his family Bills tickets, jerseys, and hats. Maddox now has his own Buffalo jersey that says Settle Jr. on the back.
Local Buffalo students found the perfect way to spend their spring break. Students are enjoying their time at Shea's Dance Camp. Campers are learning all kinds of different dances from hip-hop to salsa. Director Naila Ansari said, quote, "Learning several styles of dance can help lay a foundation for anyone who wants to pursue a musical theater career," end quote. They'll perform their final dances for family and friends at a showcase this Friday, tomorrow. Ansari said she, quote, "hopes students walk away feeling more confident and be able to incorporate dance with singing and acting," end quote. There are summer camps coming up at Shea's, and registration for those will be open by the end of this week.
After the White House announced steps to restrict the use of ghost guns, Buffalo officials announced the plan to do the same. Ghost guns are guns that are homemade, unregistered, and untraceable. Buffalo Police Commissioner Joseph Gramaglia told WIVB Buffalo, quote, "It's nice to see an announcement coming out today that is at least addressing the problem, but we need to keep it going," end quote. Buffalo police are working to rid the city streets of ghost guns, but there is still much to do. 18 ghost guns have been collected by the department in 2022, and 5 are being collected by this time last year. Gramaglia added, quote, "When someone is buying these, they're buying them in kits of 10 and 20, and they're getting those guns manufactured and getting them out onto the streets. We're only scratching the surface with the amount of ghost guns," end quote. Officials say ghost guns are becoming more accessible because of companies that sell kits to assemble guns, and it allows for people to essentially cheat the system.
Governor Kathy Hochul announced that $70 million of federal grant money is going towards newly licensed, registered, or permitted child care programs in areas of the state without sufficient child care slots, also known as child care deserts. The funds are being made available through the American Rescue Plan Act and will be administered by the New York State Office of Children and Family Services. These funds include startup, personal, and support staff costs. The funds got passed with the new 2023 budget for the next year. The budget also includes access to high-quality child care to support children and families. This also helps the New York State with its economic recovery.
New York State's Democratic Lieutenant Governor Brian Benjamin resigned Tuesday after being arrested and indicted in an alleged bribery scheme. Governor Kathy Hochul said she had accepted Benjamin's resignation, effective immediately. Benjamin is facing numerous charges accused of bribery, wire fraud conspiracy, and other related offenses. He was released on a $250,000 bond Tuesday after pleading not guilty. According to an unsealed indictment, Benjamin allegedly tried to get campaign contributions as a trade for securing a $50,000 state grant for a developer. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York says charges are serious and called it a, quote, simple story of corruption. Before the indictment, a spokesperson for Benjamin's campaign said once they found out the contributions were sourced improperly, they donated to the Campaign Finance Board.
The manhunt ends for the suspect who opened fire on a New York City subway train Tuesday morning. 10 people were shot during the terrifying incident. New York City police say they arrested a 62-year-old Frank James, the man they now call a suspect in Tuesday's subway shooting. James spoke heavily about violence in multiple rambling videos posted online. The videos posted by James give some insight into his trip into New York City. In one of the videos, James says he left his home in Wisconsin on March 20th and was heading to the, quote, danger zone. Police say James rented a U-Haul van on April 11th in Philadelphia. The U-Haul was found in Brooklyn on Tuesday after keys to the vehicle were found at the scene of the subway attack. Investigators also linked the gun found at the scene to James and tracked the purchase of a gas mask to James through eBay, according to law enforcement officials. And when we come back, we have a look at your national headlines, including a major city reinstituting mask mandates. We'll be right back.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Iconic comedian Gilbert Gottfried has died at the age of 67 from a battle with a long-term illness. His family said that Gottfried passed on Tuesday this week from recurrent ventricular tachycardia due to myotonic dystrophy type 2. Gottfried was a stand-up comedian for over 50 years and was known for his roles in Beverly Hills Cop 2, Problem Child, Look Who's Talking To, The Aristocrats, and most known for his voice acting of Iago the Parrot in Disney's Aladdin. Conan O'Brien, an American TV show host, recalled seeing Gottfried perform in 1985 and said, quote, "When he entered to applause, he said, thank you very much. And then he continued to say thank you repeatedly for 10 full minutes. It was the nerviest, funniest thing I had ever seen. So sorry to lose this sweet and delightful, funny man," end quote. The family tweeted Tuesday, quote, "Although today is a sad day for us all, please keep laughing as loud as possible in Gilbert's honor," end quote. Gottfried is survived by his wife, Dara, a daughter, Lily, 14, a son, Max, who's 12, a sister, Karen, and a nephew named Graham.
With new positive COVID-19 cases low but rising sharply in recent days, the city of Philadelphia has announced on Monday that it will reinstate an indoor mask mandate a little more than a month after lifting it, becoming the first major U.S. city to do so. The mandate will go into effect next week. A spokesman for the city's health department said it would end when case numbers and rates go beneath a certain threshold. Cheryl Bettigol, the city's health commissioner, said, quote, "This is our chance to get ahead of the pandemic," end quote. Bettigol announced that the average number of daily new cases, currently at 142, is still nowhere near what it was at the beginning of the year when the Omicron variant was pushing the 7-day average to nearly 4,000. The decision comes as cases are ticking up across the country, fueled by the highly transmissible Omicron subvariant known as BA2. While the national increase is relatively small so far, at about 3% over the last 2 weeks. The growth in cases in northeastern cities like New York City and Washington, D.C. has been significantly steeper. Some colleges in the Northeast, including Columbia, Georgetown, and Johns Hopkins, have reinstated indoor mask mandates in recent days.
Inflation rates are higher now than they've been in the past 40 years. The cost of food, housing, and gas have all left many Americans struggling to pay the price. The U.S. Department of Labor cites the bottlenecked supply chains, robust consumer demands, and disruptions to global food and energy markets worsened by the Russian war on Ukraine as the reasons for the recent spike. Over the past year, from March 2021 to March 2022, inflation has increased by 8.5%. Gas prices alone were a major factor in this recent jump, increasing by 48% within the last few months. Many economists predict that inflation may continue to rise in the coming months.
In the last 2 years, deaths due to drug overdose among teenagers has risen exponentially. From 2019 to 2020, the rate of overdose deaths doubled in the United States for teens aged 14 to 18. Also, in the first half of 2021, the deaths rose another 20%. Joseph Friedman, a PhD candidate at the University of California, Los Angeles' David Geffen School of Medicine, said, quote, "Over the past 40 years, adult overdose death rates have continued to skyrocket exponentially, and we've never seen that for teens," end quote. It is also reported that drug use amongst teens is at a low, with just 19% of 10th graders reporting illicit drug use in 2021, compared to 30% in 2010 and 2020, according to the University of Michigan.
A new study has found that human-caused climate change made the record-breaking Atlantic hurricane season more severe. 30 named storms dropped 5% more rain, and 14 storms that reached hurricane status this past season had 8% heavier rainfall. Climate scientist Michael Weiner said, quote, "It doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're near a threshold, a little bit can push you over the top," end quote. Human-caused climate change has led to a significant increase in extreme weather, such as hurricanes, heavy rain, and storms. The hurricane season in 2020 led to the death of 330 people and over $41 billion in damages. The United Nations continues to discuss reducing carbon emissions as quickly as possible and ways to use renewable energy as a means of reducing the effects of climate change.
Mexican truck drivers blockaded bridges at the U.S. border for a second day on Tuesday to protest an order by the Texas governor. The order is meant to increase safety inspections that have stopped traffic and led business groups to warn of supply chain disruptions. Mexico's government said in a statement that it rejects the inspections imposed by Texas, estimating that 2/3 of normal trade was being held up and costing significant revenue for both U.S. and Mexican businesses. Traffic at a fourth bridge connecting Reynosa to Pharr, Texas, was also halted on Tuesday by drivers who parked their trucks and began barbecuing on the Mexican side of the port of entry. Raimundo Galicia, a Mexican driver protesting the Santa Teresa Bridge, said, quote, "Yesterday it took me 17 hours to cross into the United States and return," end quote. Mexico's National Chamber of Freight Transportation estimated that the delays at the Pharr Bridge alone caused economic losses of $8 million per day and called on Abbott to withdraw the order to prevent a collapse in international cross-border trade. And when we come back, Sarah Gorton joins us for our weekly sports update, and we'll hear our first weather update from Hunter. We'll be right back.
To Sofia and Gabriel, mis flores, my little flowers. Even though these old knees can't follow on your adventure to the forest today, these flowers represent my love, so you can take me with you wherever you go, near or far. these stitches and threads join us together. Me, your mother, and both of you. And wherever you see a flower, a bird, a beautiful tree, know that my love is with you as you bring our colorful stories to the world.
Make the forest part of your story at a park near you. Find one at discovertheforest.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children, she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back, and we're now joined by Sarah Gorton. And Sarah, I'm excited to talk about the Masters, but I know you have to cover local sports, so I'm gonna let you get into that first.
All right, thank you, Topher. Well, in Fredonia sports this week, the Blue Devils baseball team had an exciting 5-4 win on an RBI in the 8th inning against Oneonta on Monday. Kenny Benete took one for the team, hitting a ground ball to bring his teammate home and break the tie for the win. Fredonia is now 10-12 and will play their next match 3 p.m. tomorrow at SUNY New Paltz. In national sports, the Masters was officially concluded at Augusta National Golf Course on Sunday after lots of big names, including the 47-year-old Tiger Woods, teed off for their shot at Golf Glory. But at the end of the tournament, there is only one person who can be crowned the champion, and this year that title went to U.S. golfer Scottie Scheffler. He went into the Masters as the top golfer in the world and proved he earned that title after finishing with a total of 10 under par. Tomorrow, April 15th, marks the 75th anniversary of the day Jackie Robinson broke the Major League Baseball color barrier when debuting with the Brooklyn Dodgers in 1947. Every year, the league celebrates Jackie Robinson on that day, and MLB players, coaches, and managers alike all don Robinson's number, 42, the only number retired in baseball. This year, not only will people wear the number, but every 42, regardless of team and uniform colors, will be in Dodger blue. The Los Angeles Dodgers are set to play the Cincinnati Reds at home tomorrow, and further down the line will host the MLB All-Star Game on July 19th, the same date that Jackie Robinson's wife, Rachel, is set to turn 100. And finally, the Buffalo Bills have re-signed wide receiver Stephon Diggs to a 4-year, $104 million extension with $70 million guaranteed. Diggs said, quote, "I wanted my next stop to be my last spot. Buffalo is my home and I never wanted to go anywhere else," end quote. Buffalo fans can be nothing but thrilled about the news that they can keep one of the most valued players in the league and have faith that he can lead them to a Super Bowl victory before retiring.
All right, well, I watched way too much golf for the weekend, and
I know you did.
oh my God, Scottie Scheffler is so good. Like, I was excited he won, but I didn't think he was going to, because he's 25 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 21 and I'm still at college. He's winning over $2 million at the age of 4 years down the road.
It's crazy.
I just can't do it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Well, I would like to golf this week, but according to our weatherman, I don't know if I'm going to get out there, but hopefully he can give me some good news. Hunter, what do you got for us?
Well, folks, I feel like I never have that great of news whenever I come on for weather, but this weekend will be absolutely no different. Tonight we can expect temperatures to drop to a low of 45 degrees with winds of 28 miles an hour. It'll be a cold and cloudy night. Tomorrow it does get a little better with temperatures getting back up to 56 degrees, but winds are expected to reach a whopping 44 miles an hour. There will also be some showers in the afternoon that will continue into the night. As for your weekend weather forecast, I'll have an update for you here shortly. Back to you at the desk.
All right, thank you so much, Hunter. Obviously, I'm not super excited about that forecast, but maybe you'll get a little bit better for that. All right, and when we come back, we'll have your international headlines. We'll be right back.
Did you know dragging chains can spark a wildfire?
Only you can prevent wildfires.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
According to the UN Human Rights Office, as of April 12th, the civilian death toll in Ukraine since the beginning of the Russian invasion stands at 1,932, but they added, quote, the actual figures are considerably higher, end quote. The office also said that 2,589 people at least have been reported injured as well. On Wednesday, President Joe Biden announced plans for the U.S. to send an additional $800 million worth of weapons, ammunition, and other security assistance as the war with Russia rages on. This news comes after a phone call between Biden and Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, as of U.S. officials warn of a potentially bloody new phase in the war, focused in on the eastern regions of Ukraine. Shipments will start in as soon as 24 hours. The U.S. has provided more than $3 billion to Ukraine. Also, on Wednesday, sources say high-profile weapons producers were scheduled to meet about the industry's capacity to support Ukraine.
UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has been fined for breaches of COVID-19 lockdown procedures. Johnson was found to have held illegal parties and gatherings at his residence and other government buildings during critical stages of the pandemic. Several parties took place in government residences, including a Christmas event, 2 leaving parties for departing staff, and a summer gathering in the Downing Street Garden where up to 100 staffers were invited to bring their own alcoholic drinks. Johnson has previously denied any wrongdoing and cited one of the events as being a, quote, work event. Johnson is to be issued with fixed penalty notices which must be paid to avoid criminal proceedings. Many Twitter users are calling for Johnson and other members of the British Parliament to resign.
On Tuesday, Indonesia's parliament approved a far-reaching law that sets punishments for sexual violence after an Islamic boarding school principal raped and impregnated at least 13 students between the ages of 11 to 14 over a period of 5 years. The legislation has languished for years amid arguments that it prohibits religious and cultural values in the world's biggest Muslim-majority nation. The law recognizes that men and children can be victims of sexual violence. However, Indonesia's criminal code recognizes only rape and lewd crimes committed by men against women and doesn't have provisions for restitution or other remedies for victims and survivors. The new law recognizes 9 forms of sexual violence as well as provisions for protection and recovery for the survivors. Of the House of Representatives' 9 political parties, only the conservative Muslim-based Prosperous Justice Party, known as the PKS, rejected the bill because they wanted it to prohibit extramarital sex and homosexual relations. President Joko Widodo appealed to the House in January to speed up deliberation on the sexual violence bill after it had languished in the legislature since 2016 as many criticized lawmakers for having no sense of crisis. Despite this, Widodo said, quote, the protection of sexual violence victims should be our common concern, which should be urgently addressed, end quote. As we come back from break, we'll have your trending stories and a look at your weekend weather forecast. We'll be right back.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school or even let alone go to college, so I'm trying to break that barrier. Every day after work, went straight to school, studied hard, and it paid off. I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me. The high school diploma is just added to the confidence, and now I feel unstoppable.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Have you ever loved a show so much that you thought a single thumbs up just didn't do it? Well, Netflix is starting to fix that. This Monday, Netflix added a double thumbs up button for your show that you just can't get enough of. The company explained in a recent blog post, quote, we've learned over time that these feelings can go beyond a simple like or dislike, end quote. Years ago, Netflix used to have a star rating system. However, this system proved to be too confusing for customers. The new double thumbs up system provides the streaming service with a better understanding of what you like and can better recommend new shows. Due to the company tanked earnings this January, Netflix is hoping this new system will be successful.
If you're oddly a fan of Kmart, I would recommend cherishing your time with it before it's gone. With the closure of its Avenel, New Jersey location, Kmart will only have 3 locations left in the entire United States. Only a short few decades ago, Kmart was a big competitor of Walmart with over 2,000 locations nationwide. In 2002, however, Kmart filed for bankruptcy for the first time and closed over 200 of its stores. A few years later, though, things looked up for Kmart as it was combined with Sears in an attempt to return both stores to their former greatness. Due to falling sales, challenging times, and more competition, however, Kmart has slowly and steadily closed most of its stores nationwide. After April 16th, Kmart will only be found in Westwood, New Jersey, Bridgehampton, New York, and Miami, Florida.
Krispy Kreme donuts will be selling a dozen donuts for the price of the national average of gas. Right now, that is $4.11 across the country. This will be starting on April 13th yesterday and continuing every Wednesday until May 4th. The price will change with the price of gas and is available online or in person. Now, Chloe, I feel like when I was younger, I remember going to Kmart all the time. Like, I feel like that was always the store. But
there was
that and Sears, funny enough. Like, that's like childhood stores that I feel like never disappeared. But now, the fact that they're all gone, like, what's another store you think about that's like just not there anymore that you can think about when you were going younger?
Do you remember the Justice stores?
Oh my, yeah. Well,
yes,
my sisters went to them a lot, but I think that's another one. All right, Hunter, what stores do you remember going to a kid that you don't remember going to anymore? Can you tell us any of those?
I was also a big Kmart fan.
Oh, perfect. Okay, I was going to say. So, yeah, are you disappointed about that?
I am. I was a big Kmart kid.
All right, Hunter, what can you tell us about the weather, though?
Well, our Friday showers will bring more showers into Saturday morning and, wait for it, rain or snow showers in the night. You did in fact hear that right. We'll have an 81% chance of rain or snow showers Saturday night, and it might just stick around as our temperatures drop to a low of 33 degrees and winds of 23 miles an hour. Just a little bit of good news for you, though. Our weather turns around for a nice Sunday day on Sunday, just in time for Easter. The sun does come at the cost of temperatures being only around a high of 43 degrees and winds of 31 miles an hour, so dress warm. Our clear skies will continue into Sunday night, temperatures will drop to a low of 31 degrees, and our winds will slow to speeds of 15 miles an hour, making for a pretty nice, but chilly, Sunday night. This has been your weekend weather forecast, and I'll pass it back to our hosts at the desk.
I'm kind of getting a little annoyed at the whole, like, give and go weather we've been receiving recently.
Yep.
Like, it was 70 yesterday, but it was raining. On Tuesday, the day before, it was 60 and sunny. Like, we just can't get a break here. And even for Easter, we just gotta be stuck inside for the majority of the day, it seems like.
Yep, no Easter egg hunts. Or maybe, but if you want to be cold.
I was gonna say, yeah, it'd be a pretty cold
chilly
Easter egg hunt. I mean, yeah, you just have to bundle up. But I feel like at this point, living in Western New York, I should just know. But like,
yeah, gotta get used to it.
I am used to it, and it makes me upset. Like, I'm jealous of my mom who lives in Kentucky. Like, I just want to be down there. It's 70 degrees right now, and I just get to sit here. And I get so many messages of just sunshine, her on a lake, and it's just I'm in here. Yeah, I live on a lake, but it doesn't count. So.
It just makes it colder and more windy. Welcome to Fredonia, everybody.
Well, it's just always wind. Well, that does it for News 11 this week. As always, thank you so much to our crews behind the scenes and here at WNYF.
And of course, thank you to everyone watching at home. We'll be back next week. Have a great night.